I gave you my heart.
Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, and like I promised in my previous lecture, I am back with some amazing numericals for all of you. These numericals will cover all the topics that we've done up till now, so it will be like a refresher so that you can revise all of them in your mind. And yeah, if you are understanding what I teach, give the video a thumbs up and also comment down yes. And if you are not able to understand what I am teaching, do write a note with any feedback or suggestion that you want to give on how I can improve myself. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So for the first question, I selected a very simple and easygoing questions. Usually in your school examinations, you will get a question of this sort. So we have to practice these questions over and over again so that you get perfect in them. So let us start with this question. Also, if you want to try it on your own, pause the video, take a minute's time because it is a simple question. It is direct formula application. So pause the video, comment down the answer and let's see if you got it right. Alright, quickly comment. Okay. Now let us start. Now let me solve it and you can check your answer here as well. So you've been given u equal to 40 meter per second, and then you've been given the horizontal angle, the angle that the ball meets the horizontal. The case is like this. Okay, the ball is going like this. It makes an angle theta with the horizontal theta is given to us as 60 degrees, and at some point it will obviously reach your maximum height or h max, which is what we have to find in the first case, and then it also covers some horizontal distance called range, which we have to find as for the second case. Right, these are the two questions inside one question, so it covers two concepts back to back. And here you have also been told that take g as 10 meter per second square. Very simple, everything is given, it's pretty straightforward. So first h max, so you know h max formula, it is u square sine square theta by 2g. Right? So what do you have to do? Just substitute the values. U square is 1600 into sine square theta. So sine theta is root sine 60 is root 3 by 2. So sine square is 3 by 4. And then by 2g, that is 20. Okay, very simple simplification. So can I write this as 1 by 20? 1 by 20. Okay. So that gives us 60. So 60 meters is your height, maximum height. And the second concept asks us to find the range. The range formula is u square sine 2 theta by g. Again, substitute the values. U square will come out to be 1600, g is 10, and sine 2 theta will be sine 180 and sine 120. Alright, 16 to 2. Sine 2 theta is sine 2 times of 60. So sine 120. That will cover up in your maths. So the final answer after substituting all these values you will get is 80 root 3. Right? Just substitution, basic calculation. If you have any doubts, do comment below and ask. So basically this is it. This is the end of the question. This is all that was asked you guys in this question. These three parameters were given to you. If you visualize, you can visualize. If you want, it is not necessary in the question since I already gave you these two formulae. And again I am repeating to remember time of flight, maximum height, horizontal range, all of these will come again and again. It may come as 6 marks, 4 marks, or even sometimes as a 1 or 2 marker question. So please keep remembering these formulae, and I will go on to the next question after you note down. So I hope that you have read the question properly. Now let us move on to the solution of the second question. So basically what is asked in the question, they have asked us what will be the effect of horizontal range of a projectile when its initial velocity is doubled, keeping the angle of projection the same. So what is happening? So you have your range, let us say that is r, initial velocity, u, and angle is theta. This is case 1 when nothing is changed. In case 2, what will be r dash when this becomes 2u and theta is theta? Right? That is what is asked. Okay. So for that, you must remember the formula for horizontal range. Horizontal range equal to u square sine 2 theta by g. Okay. So in the first case, this is the answer. In the first case, this is what is given to you. However, in the second case, your r dash is equal to u square is becoming 2u. U is becoming 2u. So 2u whole square. Theta remains the same and g is also the same obviously. So r dash is nothing but 4u square sine 2 theta by g. So if I take this common, this part, what is u square sine 2 theta by g? Is it r? Is it our initial range when we did not change anything? है ना? Right. So r dash is nothing but 4 times the original range. So our new range is 4 times the original range. Here is your answer. Next up, we have a similar question because those questions are better if you practice them over and over again. Alright. So here is the question. After you solve this one, you can copy this down. And yes, we will be moving on to the next question soon. Alright, I hope that you've read the question. What is the question saying? What will be the effect of maximum height on maximum height of a projectile if the angle is changed from 30 degrees to 60 degrees? Your velocity remains the same. Alright, so your initial maximum height is given by u square sine square theta by 2g. Right? First of all, in case 1, there are 2 cases again here as well, where your h, let me consider this as h1. Okay, so h1 is u square sine square 30 by 2g. What is sine square 30? Sine 30 is 1 by 2. So sine square 30 is 1 by 4. So u square sine square by 8g. I hope you got it. This is 1 by 4. 4 into 2 is 8. So u square by 8g. This is your first case. In your second case scenario, u square sine square 60 degrees by 2g. What is sine 60? Sine 60 is root 3 by 2. So sine square 60 will be 3 by 4. That is 3u square by 8g. I hope this part is very clear now. There is nothing. Basically, we have just kept the formula as it is. Substitute. Theta 1 is given, that is 30 degrees. Theta 2 is given, that is 60 degrees. Keep this in h1. Keep this in h2. The rest of the variables remain the same because we have not been given the values. So what is the thing? If you take this part, 3 into u square by 8g, can I write it as 3 into h1? So basically h2 equal to 3 times of h1. So our final maximum height is equal to 3 times the initial maximum height. Alright, copy the solution down. If there are any doubts, again, you can leave the comment down below. Do ask any question or any specific numerical that you want me to do. For now, you can copy this. And let us move on to the next question. Again, a very simple question. We've already done this concept very long ago, actually, in some of the first few classes when we started Motion Plane. I told you about vectors and unit vectors, and this question is basically a very basic question. So if you want to brush up the concepts, do check out the previous videos. Anyways, let us get started. So what is given is we've been given 2 vectors, a vector and b vector. What we have been told to find is to find a unit vector parallel to the resultant of the vectors. We find the resultant vector and we know how to calculate the unit vector, which is very basic. And why do I say it is easy? Is because if we find the resultant, and the unit vector is parallel to it, right? So they both are parallel. R vector and R cap are parallel. And you know formula for R cap is, R cap or any unit vector in general is vector by the magnitude of vector. So what do we have to find? Very simple, vector and magnitude. So you know two vectors are given to you, A vector and B vector. Do you know how to calculate the resultant? We've done this, triangle law of vectors. Just add the two vectors, you will get the resultant. I will just explain this question in depth at the moment so that you get a better picture of the question. Alright? So this is the fourth question of today's session. It is a very interesting session, right? Okay, so here we have question, and your A cap is given as 2I cap plus 3J cap plus 4K cap, and B vector is given as 3I cap minus 5J cap plus K cap. Sorry, right. Now let us get started with the resultant. A vector plus B vector giving some R vector by triangle law of vectors. So we know that, what is it? Resultant is equal to A vector plus B vector. Remember, we have done polygon law, parallelogram law and all of those things, but you have to decide which law you have to use when. That is why I said those concepts are very, very important. You need to keep them strong, because even in such simple questions those concepts are applied, and if you forget, you're going to lose marks just for a simple question, right? So okay, so how do we get R vector? Add these two, that is 2I cap plus 3I cap, 5I cap. 3 minus 5 is minus 2J cap, 4 plus 1 is plus 5K cap. How do you calculate magnitude of this vector? Because what do we want to find? Unit vector. Again I'm repeating the definition again and again. I'm emphasizing on it, so please register it. Unit vector is the ratio of vector to the vector's magnitude. Now we know vector. What is the vector's magnitude? Is it component of x square plus component of y square plus component of z square? This also we have studied in the previous lectures, right? So what is it? 5 square. X component is 5, so 5 square is 25. Y square is minus 2, so minus 2 square is plus 4, plus z component square is 5 again, so 25. So overall if you add it, you get root 54, right? 25 plus 25, 50 plus 54, okay, 54. Now our cap, our final answer is coming up. You don't have to simplify this answer. I will also show you two ways in which you can write the same answer. The first way is the basic way. You have vector by magnitude, right? What is the first way? First way is write vector 5I cap minus 2J cap plus 5K cap, right? This is the basic way. Even I have written most of my answers in this way. Another way that is used in NCERT mostly and NCERT exemplars, you can also try that out, is the second method, where you go 5 by root 54 I cap minus 2 by root 54 J cap plus 5 by root 54 K cap. This is more like the proper way of writing it. However, in school, if you write it as this method also, nobody is going to cut your marks. However, this method just gives a bit of more clarity. So you can follow either of them. Both of them are correct. Alright, let us move on to the next question after you've done this. So here's a question or a numerical on circular motion. When I taught you guys circular motion, I said usually numericals are not asked. However, this numerical is more of a theory part than a numerical part, because it is not important how you what you get as your final result. What I want you to put emphasis on this question is that do you remember the formula or not? Because I said that the formula are important from circular motion and the derivation. So here is the fifth question of today's session. If you are enjoying it, make sure you are giving it a like because that totally motivates me. Okay. So what is this question? Basically they are giving us a radius of 1 kilometer and they have given us your velocity of 900 kilometer per hour. First rule of 11th class physics, whenever you see something in not an SI unit, you are going to convert it into SI unit. Right? That is very fundamental. So 1 kilometer equal to 1000 meters. And 900 kilometer per hour, if you go through basic calculation, that means whenever kilometer per hour needs to be converted into meter per second, what do? Multiply it by 5 by 18. That's what you will do. So 900 into 5 by 18. Alright, you will get a value of 250 meters per second. Yes. 250 meters per second. Alright, is that clear? These two are already given to us. What we did? We just converted from a non-SI unit to an SI unit value. Alright? You have to find the ratio of centripetal acceleration, that is AC, and G. This ratio is to be found out. Main question. Now what happens here is that you kind of get confused, but there's nothing to worry. Because G value you already know is 9.8 meter per second square. What you need to find is AC. Now here again, there's nothing. I've already given you a note and I've repeatedly said circular motion, your definitions and formula fundamentally must be clear because again you are going to study rotational motion in the coming up chapters. So again I'm repeating, your centripetal acceleration is given by your V square by R. AC is equal to V square by R. So what is V square? V square happens to be 250 into 250 or 25 into 25 into 100 by, you have 1000 here, R is 1000, right? So this gets cancelled, you will get, so 25 square is 625, divided by 10, get 62.5 meter per second square. Now you have to find this simple ratio. Can you find it? Of course you can. It is very simple. What are you going to do? AC by G. You know AC is 62.5. You know G is 9.8. For simplification, you can take this as 10. If it is not specified in the question, better to take it as 9.8. Right? So you can easily solve this. This is not a very difficult question and this part is not even important. The thing that is important is this formula. Keep in mind this formula. Keep revising all the formula in circular motion. Alright. So once you've noted that down, I will go to the next question. So I hope you've read the question and yes, it is a dot product question. However, one word might have caught your attention and I can't seem to remember if I've taught it or not. Coplanar vectors are the vectors that lie on the same plane. Okay. So same plane, what does a plane mean? You have three axes. You have X, Y and Z. Let me explain this to you first before we go on to the question. This plane is called as the XY plane. Okay? Only the X and Y components are used here, nothing else. What do I mean by X and Y components? When you see I cap and J cap, what is used? XY plane. When you see I cap and K cap, what is used? XZ plane. And when you see K cap and J cap together, what is it? It is YZ plane. I'll repeat it once more, no worries. XY plane is this plane. Whenever you see vectors with I cap and J cap only, exclusively I cap and J cap, what do we call this? This is X component and this is Y component. So when you see X component and Y component together, it is said to be in XY plane. Similarly, when you see x component and z component together, it is said to be in xz plane. When you see z component and y component together, it is said to be in the yz plane. That is it, basically very simple. Okay, I hope you understood this part. So in the question, now read the question again, go back a few seconds in the video, pause the question, read it again. You get in the question what is used? Only I cap and j cap. Very clear now. This is the plane we are talking about. We have only xy plane. Now they have told C vector is a coplanar vector. Coplanar vector with A and B vector, right? If A and B lie on xy plane, where will my C vector lie? So now I know C is going to have some I cap and some j cap. Only x and y component. So what do I want to find? A vector. A vector is being given, I'll write the values in a while, I don't remember them. And C vector, if I take them as some A I cap plus B j cap. X component and Y component. I have to find the value of A and B, and then we will look into how we find the magnitude. But is this understandable? Are you clear? See, A I cap where A is any variable. B j cap, B is also any variable. Overall, my AI cap plus BJ cap lies in my XY plane with X component and Y component. Here, what is my X component? A is my X component. What is my Y component? B is my Y component. Clear? Okay. Now let me begin writing the values that are given in the question. If you notice, this is a very basic question. So you can try to solve it on your own now that I've already given you a hint. Okay. A vector is given as I cap plus j cap. Your B vector is given as 2I cap minus j cap. And it is given A vector dot C vector equal to B vector dot C vector, which is equal to A vector dot B vector. So do you remember the properties we used in dot product? If not, again a note for you all. I cap dot I cap is equal to j cap dot j cap, which is equal to k cap dot k cap, and what are they equal to? 1. I cap dot j cap is equal to j cap dot k cap is equal to k cap dot I cap, which is equal to what? 0. This is dot product. What is dot product called as? Quick quiz, comment down, what is dot product called as? I will be leaving the answer soon. Okay? So now let us find, should I find this first, this value first? Why am I finding that value first? Because I know these two quantities. C is a variable. So if I have to find this, all it includes what? Variables. However, A dot B does not include variables. Okay, it will be easier to find. So what is my A dot B? A vector dot B vector is equal to I cap plus j cap dot 2I cap minus j cap. So I into 2I, 2 minus 1, right? I hope it's clear. This into this into this, because I into j is 0, j into I is 0, so I am not going to do that. So 2 into 1, 1. Great. We found this value, successful. Done. Next, let me find, should I rub this? I hope you have all written this note and I'm just going to rub it off. Okay. Now A dot C. A dot C is I cap plus j cap dot AI cap plus BJ cap. So what do you get? Here you get A plus B. Now see, this is equal to this. You had a chapter in class 9 or 10, I'm not sure, but it tells you that if A is equal to B and if B is equal to C, you get A equal to C. Yeah, that logic is what we're going to use here. So if this is equal to this is equal to this is equal to this. So what is A plus B? Is it equal to 1? Since A dot B equal to 1. A plus B is it 1? Is it clear? Now let me find out b vector dot c vector. So what is b vector? It is 2i cap minus j cap dot ai cap plus bj cap. I'll just now this implies 2 into a is 2a minus b. What is it equal to? Is it also equal to 1? 2a is equal to 1 plus b. So can I call this as, or a will be, okay, right, this will get complex, which implies my b is equal to 1 minus a. First equation, this is second equation. So 1 into, so what do you have? B equal to 1 minus a, 2a equal to 1 plus 1 minus a. Take this 3a equal to 2. So what is a? Is it 2 by 3? Yes, it is 2 by 3. Similarly, if you solve for b, b is 1 minus a, 1 minus 2 by 3. That is equal to 1 by 3. So now I have my a, I have b. 2 by 3 and 1 by 3. Alright, this question is going to be killed. So c vector is nothing but your 2 by 3 I cap plus 1 by 3 j cap. But do we have to find this? No. What do we have to find? The magnitude of c vector. I'm not going to write the formula again. I hope you remember it. Square both the components, 4 by 9 plus 1 by 9, which is equal to root of 5 by 9. You can solve it. You can leave it as it is. I prefer leaving it as it is. You can leave it. You can even write root 5 by 3, but it'll be fine. Just the way it is, okay? So I hope you enjoyed today's session. I had a lot of fun and I hope all the concepts were cleared. Keep revising what we've learned and I'll be coming up with a new chapter. If you want me to do a specific chapter, let's say the last chapter or the first few chapters, if you want me to do any chapter, comment down below what chapter do you want to see next. Otherwise, I'm going to go as per the sequence of the NCERT textbook. So according to that, I think we have laws of motion next. So if you have any other specific request of chapter that you think I should cover, you can leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the session again. Bye.